Wednesday 3.
We're in Wednesday 1.
And get kicked out of the game. I'm going to get it again. No question in my mind.
He came from one of the toughest areas of Phoenix. Also, this country, of course.
Praying for the safety and
You got people on the defense talking about it. You better get your ass involved. You better get involved.
I just got to say, when it comes to former Dallas,
Different.
For sure, they would have thrown it off because
This guy gets off you.
Smaller from and then I go to bed every night like G man, I promise you Man, what is up, Cowboys Nation? Boy, Mike Tag here, Kelly K9. We're getting ready. You know, you could be getting the weekend started early if you guys, you know, are feeling it. We got 4th of July weekend, so we're hanging out with you, man. If you guys are rolling in, hit that subscribe, like, share. We are getting closer and closer to getting this season started. Kelly, how you doing, my man?
Doing pretty good, man. You know, it was you was on vacation last week, and I decided I was going to take a little bit of a vacation myself. You know, staycation. And it's really hard, man, to come on and talk about the Cowboys for an entire hour and do it by yourself. You know what I mean? So I was just kind of thinking about it. I knew the chat always would have showed up and they would have came through and supported me. So I'm sorry for you guys if you guys were wanting. So I had a couple people reach out and say, "Is there not a show tonight?" And I said, "No, man." I said, "I'm kind of taking a little break myself." The off season is just, you know, look, I mean, I saw somebody that said something the other day and it said July is the last month without football for like the next 7 months. And that made me happy to hear. So football's around the corner, start to gear up and get ready and get there. But yeah, sometimes it could be hard when there's just really nothing to talk about. I feel like you've talked about it all. We've talked about it all.
It's almost like, what is it? Wash, rinse, and repeat. Is that what they say? I don't know.
Yep.
But that's the way it seems like. You know, I took a week off, and this is the 3rd show this week that I've done, and feel like I'm saying the same thing sometimes. But we're going to mix it up because that's what Kelly and I do. We mix it up. But, you know, I don't know what your plans are for the holiday, but, I mean, some of you guys may know. My son, his birthday's tomorrow. He is going to be 21. So we're taking him out. We're going to do some dueling pianos. We're going down to a bar in Clearwater, going to hang out, going to get them wasted. And, you know, maybe Uncle Danny and I might take him to Silks. I don't know what's going to happen after that. Maybe, you know, after we leave some of the family, got to get this boy, you know, walk in a boy, come out a man. You know how that goes. But I told him, I said, I'm just trying to get him set up because I said, when Uncle Kelly gets a hold of you at the Cowboys tailgate, I mean, I can't protect you. I'm just hoping I'll be able to get you into the game. I don't know. You might be hanging with Cutson at the tailgate during the game. He passed out. So, you know, I saw you posting some stuff with your kids and you're getting older, and it really kind of hits me, man. My kid's going to be 21. My daughter is going away to college, and you know, I was talking to my wife this morning. Like, all right, what are we doing here? What's the plan?
Yeah.
Man, it's getting crazy. It's getting crazy.
You know, it is, man. You know, as a parent of, you know, of multiple children for us both, man, you kind of get to that point of your life when it's like, it's that next step. You know, it's that next step in life. You've completed the parenthood. You know what I mean? I'm not completely done yet. I still got one. He's a senior in high school this coming year, but it's very close, knocking on the door, and you get you to thinking, man, and it brings all these emotions up, you know what I mean? And I'm just like, you know, reminiscing and stuff, and I'm seeing, you know, last night it was just kind of a surreal moment, man. I'm sitting there and I'm watching my son grill, and I literally had this flashback, and I posted that picture of him watching me grill. He used to do it all the time, and he'd ask me, be like, "Dad, can I help?" And he wanted to know all the tips and stuff. And now he's asking me, you know, how do I cook my wings? And Dad, how do you make your ribs and this and that? And he's been inviting me over to cook for me. And it's just, you know, it's kind of come full circle. And it's crazy, man. That next step in life is it's something else, man. But it's something to be proud of. But, you know, it also gets you a little emotional tugs on them heartstrings a little bit too.
No, it does. And you start thinking about it, it's like, man, I'm going to be 50 this year. And, you know, you lived most of your life, and you got to, You got some years left. Hopefully I got a lot of good years left, but
Yeah.
it's definitely crazy thinking that he's going to be 21 and where he's at. You know, nothing wrong with it. Still lives at home and he's finding his way. Him and his nephew started a business and they're doing good. And I'm thinking, man, when I was his age, I'd moved away from home. I was living on my own, you know, in Tampa, left South Florida, moved up to Tampa for a job, making $1,000 a month, trying to sell stuff and see if I can, you know, turn my life into something and living on Flavor Aid because I couldn't afford Kool-Aid and store brand mac and cheese and all this kind of stuff. And it's crazy. And it seems like yesterday, and you know, that's how fast life goes. So it's just a lesson of enjoy every moment of your life, man. I know it's a Cowboys show. We want to get sentimental on you guys, but it is, man. You got to enjoy the time because it goes by fast. If you got young kids, man, treasure those moments because before you know it, they're grown up and hopefully they want to hang out with you, you know, a little still. That'll be a good thing. I was touched when I had my daughter's phone and she was doing something and she had me go on her phone and I was trying to text a picture to myself like that we took. And she had Dad the Goat on there. So it kind of made me good. She thinks her dad's cool. So
yeah. Yeah, it's a good feeling, man. When you get grown up and you've raised your kids and they still want to come around and hang around with you as an adult, I'll let you know that you made it, man. Because it's funny because you go through those phases of life, you know, when they're in those teenage years. There's a few years in there, and it happened with every one of my kids where it was just kind of like they didn't want to be around Dad. You know what I mean? Dad was going to embarrass me, or you know, Dad this or that. You know what I mean? They're too cool for you at some point, and then they kind of come back around, and then they're like, yeah, you know, I want to hang out with you, you know, and all that good stuff. So it's just like the way we were talking. It's those phases of life that you kind of go through. They get through the didn't really want to be around, and now they're back around. They're like, I love you, Dad. Let's go out. Let's hang out. Come on over for a cookout and all that stuff. It's good stuff, man. So it's fun to see. And you know, you're right. You definitely got to break Mikey in because, you know, when the tailgate time comes, it's time. It's you know, I'm not gonna say that what you guys are gonna do that this, but it's kind of like training camp, you know, right?
Yeah.
Getting him ready for the real season when it's time for him to perform. We're gonna come out there and we're gonna see what's up.
You're gonna be his Mr. Miyagi. I mean, you know what I'm saying? You got Daniel's son getting ready for the Cobra Kais. I mean, he's gonna have to toughen up. So he's wax on, wax off, all that stuff right now.
Catching flies with the chopsticks.
So it is going to be on, and we got a fun show. Obviously, we're having a good time, but we're gonna have a fun show. Wait, I see a couple good things in here. My oldest will be 50. Wow. And we'll see him at the tailgate. Definitely looking forward to that. And yeah, well, shoot, you could be my dad, man. So hopefully we get to hang out. We'll have a beer tailgate and definitely be a good time. And it does go fast. Youngest is turning 21. Oldest is 40. 3 in the middle, man. And
wow.
Yeah. So that's awesome. And definitely all of us are blessed if you got great kids. I mean, that's all you can ask for when you become a parent is that you don't screw it up and you know, it's a never-ending job. I mean, my man, you know, Garland, you know, your son, your youngest son or daughter is 50, but you're still parenting. I mean, it's a never-ending thing, right? So
yeah, you know, and I think that's pretty cool as well, though. Kind of a testament to our audience that we have all the age groups. You know what I'm saying? We got some old school Dallas Cowboys fans in here that go back to the Staubach days. You know, all the way to some of them that, you know, like, you know, Mikey, who's kind of was coming up in the Romo Witten era, Des Bryant, you know, era or whatever. The new generation, I would say.
Championship generation.
Yeah, exactly. Don't know the championships. I feel like we've got a really good, you know, dynamic in terms of our fan base that we've got, you know, the people that go all the way back to the 70s in the championships. We've got the 90s guys like, you know, me and you, and then, you know, and then we've got the 2000s. And so we've got a great dynamic of fans in the Cowboy Cave that make this a very, very special and unique place to talk football.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So April, you're getting ready for the fun times, man. Teenage years. But hey, Christopher, yeah, you got to let me know how that is in Maryland. I've always wanted to go to a Commanders game or Washington game there. Philly, I might be there. I might be there in Dallas. So I still have those tickets. I told myself I was going to sell them all, and then I'm back to doing, well, maybe, and maybe after this show, I'll either put them up for sale or I'm going to hold on to them. But maybe this team is going to be all right. Maybe we're getting things going. I know you, Kelly, you were hard on them, tough love. I love that kind of attitude in a fan too. And they made that bold move and that great move of getting Pickens, and you kind of got re-energized and reinvigorated. And we're going to break down some of the schedule, but I talked about it with we had Big C's on the show, which I don't know if you know Big C's.
Oh yeah.
His story is absolutely phenomenal. If you guys aren't subscribed to him, check him out. He's enjoying the Panthers back-to-back, but he's a Cowboys fan too. So I said, you got to spread that love down to us. But we talked about, did you Cowboys do enough? And Greg and I talked about it. And so I throw it to you. I mean, looking at this team, did they do enough to close the gap? And obviously, Philly's the standard, as much as we don't like to say it. They're the Super Bowl defending champs, so it starts and ends with them. Do you think the Cowboys did enough to close the gap to be a contender in the playoffs?
You know what? I think a lot of it's going to depend on how this new coaching staff really how quick they can get this team to gel. I think that they got this team into being a playoff contention team. I think this team should make the playoffs. I've got us, I've been bouncing back and forth between 10 and 12 games, 10 and 12 wins, somewhere in that range, right? But in terms of did we close the gap to make us a title contender, I just don't see it this year. I not right now. The reason why is because I still feel like there's too many question marks at some of the more important positions, right? I think the offensive line. I think the offensive line is going to be better. In fact, the other day I tweeted out that my bold prediction was that this offensive line is going to be a top 5 offensive line unit. I think this year, and which would be a huge improvement from what we saw last year, right? I'm still just not completely 100% sold on our running backs. I know a great offensive line will help that. It feels like it's just lacking a little bit of something. You know what I mean? Because, my opinion could totally change come week 1, depending on what we see in training camp and what we see in preseason, what these guys look like running behind some starters. But the defensive tackle position, lack of some of the depth at the cornerback position. I feel like that definitely this is a playoff team, title contention team. I just can't say that at this point. Now they could change my mind halfway through the season. They can change my mind. I'm absolutely open to come back and revisit it. I think it's a playoff team, but unfortunately right now, kind of what I see is what we've seen in years past. I feel like it's kind of a one and done team in the playoffs, unfortunately. But what I did see, I don't know if you saw this, and this kind of gives me some hope that despite what Vegas has us at these 7.5 wins, which still seems ludicrous. Hey, go out and get your money if you because I feel like that's just they're giving money away for that. But they got Dak Prescott. He's got the best odds to win comeback player of the year at plus 300. And it's at I think I can't remember who's next, but I think the next one was like 350, and then it just continues getting bigger and bigger there. But I think that Vegas believes that Dak Prescott's going to have a really good season, because if you win comeback player of the year, obviously you will have had a really good season. So I think it sets up well for Dak Prescott and the offense to have a good season. I feel like our strength is going to be in the pass game. I feel like with CeeDee Lamb, and I know we hear the Schottenheimer talking about.
Let me stop you for a minute, because I got to address something, because I see it in the chat, and my man Elijah, I love Elijah. He great kid. Congratulations, by the way, too. I know got engaged, but my man, the Giants. He's a Giants fan. I've known him since he was a little kid. And I think he was about 5 years old the last time the Cowboys lost to the Giants of any meaningful game that wasn't some backup. So Elijah you need to relax, man. Them Giants, you ain't going nowhere. I know you're trying to get under my skin, and then he's trying to say Neighbors is better than Lamb. You must be crazy, but yeah, I just had to get that out there because I saw him on there, and I know he's trying to skin, and I ain't gonna let it happen. But he knows I welcomed him. Now I'm gonna be there September 6th, Elijah. That or September 13th, whatever it is, when we beat the hell out of the Giants in Dallas. I'm going to fly out. I'm flying out on the Learjet Sunday morning, see the ass beaten, and flying back that evening. That's how easy it's going to be. So you better
in and out, in and out like an ATM, baby.
Yeah.
I think it's a little too early for Giants fans to start any kind of chirping. They've been kind of at the bottom of the NFC East for a little while now. So you're gonna have to hold up before you start bumping. Just actually do something on the field before you can start saying anything with the Giants. But as I was saying, as far as the Schottenheimer talking about the run, and wanting to establish the run and everything, I believe him. I believe that he's going to want to, but I just feel like we're going to be a passing team. I feel like Dak Prescott's going to have a big season in the pass game because the thing is, you get two number one wide receivers. You've got two number one wide receivers, and listen. Me and I'm gonna make a video game analogy. We've all played Madden. Everybody in here has played Madden, right? You could have the best running back in the league under center on your team, but if you've got two dynamic playmaking wide receivers, it's just too tempting not to chunk that sucker deep and just drop back and throw it, 30, 35 times a game. And I just feel like it's similar to that in real life, right? Schottenheimer and this offensive coordinator, I just feel like it's going to be too tempting, especially once they see Dak Prescott coming out on his revenge tour, slinging the ball to CD, slinging that ball to, George Pickens. I just feel like that they're going to have a heyday in this passing game. I feel like this could be one of the most potent passing offenses in the league this year. You know what I mean? I think they could be that good.
I hope you're wrong because it's not that I don't mean that Dak's great and the receivers are great. I think if he's throwing the ball 40 to 50 times a game, that doesn't bode
well. I don't necessarily know that. I'm just saying maybe around 30 to 35 times a game, and maybe not. You know what I mean? Because I think when Schottenheimer talks about running the ball, I think they're talking about 20 plus carries a game. I don't know. We're going to see that. I think it's going to be closer to around maybe between 15 and 20 or something, and then closer to 35 passes a game. I just feel like they're going to lean more on the pass game than they will the run game. But if that offensive line is good, I maybe, who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. I see the running back room, and then I see those two wide receivers. And honestly, I think that even outside of the two wide receivers, I really think that we got something good with Turpin, because I think that Turpin is a guy who showed last year. What did he have? Did he have 5 or 4 touchdowns? I think. He had some deep, really deep plays. So I think he can take the top off of deep. And then I think, even with the guy like Jalen Tolbert, I liked what he did last year, and with him being a number 3 and getting a whole lot less attention. I think that bodes well for him too. He had 7 touchdowns last year. I don't think he's a bad number 3 at all at this point.
No, and you forget about Mingo too, and maybe what he could bring if his.
I hope he's a pleasant surprise. I hope he's a pleasant surprise. We don't, we haven't seen him with Dak Prescott. We haven't, it's a fresh start really for all these guys if you think about it, because it's a new offensive system to be put in place. So it's a fresh start for everybody.
I hope Shoddy doesn't abandon the run. That's what the only thing I'd give on McCarthy, like he gave up on the run quickly. Now, granted, they didn't have, but I just remember even when they had Rico and he's running, and they're just like annihilating and just go right down the field. And it's like, where'd the run go? I hope if the run is working, he continues, because I still think you got to have balance, and you got to have balance. And I think Dak Prescott works best off balance. And to your point, the running game is a wild card. I mean, Javonte Williams, he has the talent. Health has been a problem. Miles Sanders, he's still under 30. I know people think he's long in the tooth for running back, but he was in the doghouse in Carolina, but he's still a guy that maybe he's there. I think Maffa is a young guy. I think Blue is going to be one of those, not really between the tackles guys, but he's going to be your big play, out of the backfield, things like that. they need a Pacheco, right? They need one of these late round guys to be the guy that ends up coming out of nowhere and being a lightning rod for this running game, because we don't have a stud. I mean, Barkley's not on our sidelines. Derrick Henry's not on our sidelines. I mean, we don't have that. So someone's going to have to surprise us and see what happens. But I think the key to Dallas' success are two things: run the football and stop the run. And to your point, those are things that we're just kind of, both of us are like, okay, I think we can, but I don't know.
Yeah, we need to see it. You got to see it. I know that in the offseason, after the whole thing with last year, that whole debacle, and Jerry talking about going all in, and he went a quarter of the way in. After that last year, I said, and I remain firm on that, is that I'm in show me mode. You got to show me. I can't buy into really anything that this team is doing until I see it. You know what I mean? I'm starting to warm to Schottenheimer, but I need to see it. You know what I mean? I'm starting to warm up to the thought that this team could be, potentially a dangerous team that could make the playoffs and possibly make some noise, but I got to see it. You know what I mean? I feel like I like the offensive line better, but again, I got to see all these things. You got to see them. And that's what I got to see. Got to see them with my own eyes, man. So, I mean, some of the things that I think now may not be true 3 months down the line,
Well, the beauty of it is, Kelly, is we're going to go through this schedule and we're going to give some predictions, and you don't have long to wait because we're rolling out with the defending Super Bowl champions on the road.
Yeah.
They're going to wave their banner right in front of the Cowboys' face. And, you can't ask for, to me, I don't think, if you want a barometer, this is the way to set it. You're going to find out real quick what this team's made of, because Philly would like nothing more than obviously to smash Dallas on opening night. The record for the defending champion, they've done this pretty much for the last, 15 years or something. I think they're 13-5 or whatever it's been. They've got a pretty strong record. Dallas has done this before. I was there in Tampa. They raised the flag. I mean, it was, as a Cowboy fan, it was humiliating. I mean, it was. I mean, to watch that happen and you have to sit and watch it. Now, that was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who we really don't care much about. This is going to be Philly, one of your divisional, rivals, if you want to call them that. So it's going to sting. Now, what they do with it is going to be interesting. Dak Prescott, I know the Eagle fans like to brag how they beat Dallas twice last year. They beat us, beat Cooper Rush. Dak Prescott's 9-4 against Philly. He's won a lot in Philly. If you ever want to play one of the better teams, it's always better to play them early, because I don't think a lot of teams do preseason, and there's a lot of the offense is usually behind the defenses, this and that. So you got Dallas at Philly kicking off the NFL season. So let's just get this party started right. And what are you thinking about this game?
Well, God, man, I hate Philadelphia so bad, and everything in me wants to say that the Cowboys come out and pull the upset on Thursday night. Come in, upset Philly, way to start the season. But just with it being a new coaching staff, with everything that they're having to implement, and they get things going, it's hard to do that, and it's hard to do it and be that ready week one. So I don't know, man. I think this team is going to play them a lot closer than what they did last year. We got embarrassed basically 2 games, but if you looked at those games were fairly close for the first, about the first half. The wheels started falling off in the second quarter, midway through second quarter, I think, in both those games, but they fell off because turnovers. Cooper Rush threw, I know that game up in Philly, I think he threw 2 picks in the first half, that led to points. And then so, the wheels just fell off after that. I don't think that team felt like they could compete. So, but I'm, as much as I want to say that we're going to come in there and upset them, I just don't see it happening straight out the gate. I still feel like Philly is one of the more complete teams in the NFL. I think they're going to have a great season this year again. Unfortunately, running the ball behind Saquon Barkley and that really good offensive line. And again, one of our weaknesses right off the bat is going to get tested, and that's that defensive line. So unfortunately, I got Philly winning that game.
Yeah, and let us know in the chat what you guys think of this game. And everything you said, it's hard to argue, right? I mean, I think Dallas and Philly are the two best teams in the division. I think they're going to split.
I think so too. Yeah.
Ask me, which game would if they're going to win one of them, I sure the hell would love to win this one. I love beating divisional teams on the road. I just think that sets the tone, and that's just makes you feel good. But that means we'd probably lose it at home. So as much as I want Dallas to win, I think it's going to be a competitive game. I think it's going to be a good game. I think it's going to be a tight game. But I think it's going to be, Philly's going to eke out that victory. I think Dallas covers. I think this line is 6.5 today. I think it's going to be one of those
games. Yeah.
But yeah, I think we start the season. I think we lose, but I think we come off feeling pretty good. And I know you never want to feel good about a loss, but I think you feel pretty good. Okay, we went toe-to-toe with them. We're there. It was competitive. They're at home. You're supposed to win your home games against your divisional teams. They're to open in the season, all that stuff. So I think Dallas starts out 0-1. So I think we're both 0-1 with the Cowboys, but not crying about it.
Yeah, no, not crying by any means. I agree. I think it's going to be a closer game. I think it'll be one of those games that is very tight. I think maybe a late score in the fourth by the Eagles. I do not think that they're by any means beating us by double digits like they did in both games last. I mean, they beat us by damn near 20-something points both games last year. That's not going to happen this year. Definitely going to be a different Cowboys team is going to come out and play motivated. They'll play tough. It'll be like the matchups that we've seen in the past several years with when there's a healthy Dak Prescott, Eagles and the Cowboys. They really battle it out.
Yeah. So we start out 0-1, we don't like to do it, but we start now. We're home. We got the Giants at home, and if there's a cure for for coming off a loss, it's the New York Giants. I mean, that's just the way it goes. So I don't need to spend a lot of time on this. I'm flying down for the game. Like I said, I'm gonna jump in on a Sunday morning, go to the game, and fly right back. And I'm gonna fly back with the Cowboys being 1-1, and I think it's an easy victory. I think it's going to be one of those. I think you could easily put a 40 burger or more up on them. I think it's going to be a breakout game for the Lamb and for Pickens. I think it's going to be one of those games, and Cowboys win easily.
Yep, I agree. I've said it for the past, feels like, I don't know how many years, but it feels like a lifetime that I've been saying it. But there's two things that are certain, or three things that are certain: was it's death, taxes, and the Cowboys beating the New York Giants ass. And I think that continues. And I think that they get the win over they get that win over the Giants, and that's a nice little bounce back, give them some confidence, give them somebody to smack around, a little redheaded stepchild of the NFC East, and that'd be a nice little win, 1-1. I'm right there with you.
Yeah, and now you've got an interesting stretch, and I think we talked about it. This early schedule, the Cowboys, we're going to get into later. They better pile up some wins because the last half is going to be tough. But they start a stretch of three of the 4 road games, right? So their next 4 games, 3 of them are going to be on the road. And if we know the Cowboys like we know the Cowboys, there's always a slip up. I mean, that's just the way it is. Hopefully it changes, but they're going to be going to Chicago. They've got the new coach, right? They got Detroit's coordinator, Caleb Williams, coming into his second year. My memory's right. Second year.
Yep. Year 2.
They revamped some of their offense. They got some weapons. They're trying to build something. This could be one of those sneaky, weird games. What's your thoughts on going to Chicago?
I've still got them beating Chicago. I don't think Chicago is quite there yet. I think this is one of the teams that Dallas will beat. I know it's on the road, and I know Chicago's been doing some things to improve and to help Caleb Williams make things a little bit easier on him. Still don't really have much confidence in him, though, as a quarterback. I thought of all the quarterbacks that got drafted last year, I thought he had the worst season. And I know a lot of people blamed it on his offensive line, but his offensive line wasn't, really causing him to throw interceptions. He threw some pretty bad picks that had nothing to do with his offensive line. I'm not really sold on Caleb Williams. I haven't been. I've been, vocal about that since he was at his days at USC. So I think the Cowboys get that win. I think we go to 2-1.
I agree. I don't think this is a slip-up game, only because, to your point, I'm not a Caleb Williams fan. I just didn't really care for him in college.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's a leader. I don't know and I think it's going to come, a lot of these games come down to the quarterbacks, and I think there's a big gap between these two quarterbacks in the game. And I think the Cowboys would be too much. So the Cowboys go 2-1. And now, they got week 4. You're bringing the Packers coming into the house. The Packers have owned the Cowboys of many recent years, even past Aaron Rodgers, even with Love. We've got embarrassed. You tweeted it out. You and I have talked about it. I will still go to my grave to this day being the most embarrassing loss in Cowboys history. I know people brought up the Giants playoff game, and that one ranked up there, but this was humiliating. It wasn't. I mean, we lost to the Giants. The Giants defense was tough. It was a rival game. It wasn't like a blowout. This was an absolute beating, and it was embarrassing because it was over before it started. We didn't even really get a chance to kind of get excited for the playoffs. So, and they were a 7th seed, and I don't think a 7th seed ever beat a 2 seed in the history.
First time ever.
There's so many things that why we reliving this, but the X factor of this game, if there's going to be one, is the Cowboys Cave Tailgate Party is going to be there. We're 1-1. We're 1-1. So we've been beaten. We've been beaten in this moment, so we're not unbeatable. But I'll let you run with this one. This is going to be a tough one. It's going to be tough, and there will be a lot of Packers fans there. Make no mistake about it.
Oh yeah. They're going to show up in droves. There always seems to be. That's it's funny. I always it used to make me laugh that there was a odd number of Green Bay fans in Texas. It's weird. They do. And then I knew several of them in Lubbock, Texas. When I'm in Lubbock, I'm like, you guys are living in Lubbock and you're a Green Bay. Like, how the hell does that even happen? Anyway, no, I think that I think this is a game that I think that I've got the Cowboys winning. I think that this is a game where the Cowboys win. They're going to have a 3-game win streak at this point. It's Sunday Night Football. They're playing in Dallas. I feel like they tend, I think the Cowboys play pretty good. I know that people will say out of the playoffs, that's prime time. But in a lot of the prime time slots, I feel like the Cowboys typically play some good games. I mean, that Seattle game a few years ago was a really good game that they played. That Detroit Lions game that they played, was that 2-3 years, or that was 2 years ago, 2 seasons ago. They've played some really exciting primetime premier games at home where they played really well, and I think they'll do that again. I think this will get them, another win, and then at this point, you've got yourself a little win streak going, and they're starting to talk about, they're starting to talk about the Cowboys and say pretender or contender. You know what I mean? Because then now he'll have actually, because I think Green Bay will be their first, win where it's like, okay, that's Green Bay was a playoff team, and then the Cowboys beat them. Maybe this Cowboys team has got something. So I've got us winning that game, and mostly just because I feel like, one, I think the Cowboys, I feel like the way that their team will be set up will be match up well with Green Bay. But two, I feel like that loss was an embarrassing loss. I think that there's still plenty of the players on that team that want to get that bad taste out of their mouth. And so, yeah. And then, the Cowboys Cave Tailgate's going to be there. So we're bringing the mojo, and I got faith in it. We're winning that game.
Yeah. And I agree with Andrew. I mean, this is a test. This is a test for the team. I mean, obviously, the Eagles are a test, but this is a test. You're at home. I mean, there's no shame in losing to a good team on the road. There's no shame in that, losing to a Super Bowl champion on the road. But you need to win your home games against good teams. You need to win more than you lose against when you're at home. So this is going to be a big test. I think Dallas wins. I think it's Sunday night. I think, Dak is, I don't know what his record is on night games and probably, but in my just thinking off the top of my head, it seems like he does pretty well, but I could be wrong.
Yeah.
I think he does pretty well. And I think the Cowboys, the matchup, I agree with you, Kelly. I think the matchup favors Dallas in a lot of areas, especially those two receivers. And this could be that type of game where you see Dallas air it out and just win throwing the football more than running. Just because they've got a big advantage there. So I've got Dallas winning. So that puts us both. We're agreeing on everything. We don't have anything to argue about. That puts Dallas in a 3-game win streak, 3-1. So now it's interesting. They have 2 road games, and first one is at the Jets and then at the Panthers. So I'm going to let you kind of knock both games because these are very similar in a way, but how do you see these two teams playing out the next 2 games?
I think the Jets might actually be a little bit better than they were last year. I feel like they change coaches every damn year, but new regime kind of in there and stuff, new fresh start and
Who
everything.
the hell's their quarterback? Is it Flacco?
You know what? I think they've got like 3 or 4 different quarterbacks there currently right now. I don't know that any of them are really very good, which is why I feel like the Cowboys win. And I'm just going to, I feel like the Jets, why I say that I feel like they'll be a better team. And I feel like that they may give the Cowboys a decent game, maybe in the first half defensively with some of their defensive players.
Fields. They got Fields. I knew it was
Justin Fields. Okay. But ultimately, I don't think the Cowboys lose either of those games. I feel like they win both games, Jets and Panthers. I just feel like this Cowboys team is too good They've got more playmakers on both sides of the ball than either one of those teams. And while I feel like that the Panthers and the Jets are going to be better this year than what they were last year, still think the Cowboys win both those games. So now you're talking 5-1.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a whole lot to add. I think they're clearly better than the Jets. With Fields I think Fields is a better quarterback than people probably believe. I think he's become victim of just really a lot of coaching changes and not being able to establish himself. And unfortunately, by Chicago will do that to you. And I think, unfortunately, he's going to be just one of those journeyman guys, but he could end up like Geno Smith, where people forget about him and all of a sudden he comes out of nowhere and he's, gets paid. So I think the Cowboys are just playing better than the Jets, clearly. I think the Panthers are going to be better, like you said. I agree, but the Panthers were feeling pretty good, and I was at that game with Doug and the family and everyone, we had a great time with cuts and stuff. And that was a chance for Carolina to step up to the plate, and their fans were rocking. They thought they had a wounded animal. The Cowboys were definitely beaten, and they thought this was going to be their chance. And they couldn't live up to it. They laid an egg, and we annihilated them. So I don't think Carolina is just ready for prime time. And I think when you play the Cowboys, it's your Super Bowl. I mean, we've seen it. And I think the players are going to be amped up. And I think the butterflies and the pressure is going to get to them again. I think Cowboys win easily. So that puts us at 5-1. And we talked about the Cowboys racking up wins early. There's going to be a reason why they need to, but the Cowboys 5-1, I would have guessed would be definitely tied for first or right in the mix. So things are doing pretty good for the Cowboys. So now we get back in the division and we welcome the Commanders at home, coming to Dallas. So let's say you on this one.
I think that's another win. Look, last year the Cowboys were a play away from sweeping the Commanders with Cooper Rush, and one of the most banged up Dallas Cowboys teams that I have seen in many, many years. And, look, put Dak Prescott behind center and they sweep last year. They sweep them and probably beat them pretty handily in both games. I don't think that's going to be much different this year. I think the Commanders got a good team. I really do. I think they got a good team. I think they'll probably play us fairly tough, but I still got that as a win. I think that the Cowboys are the better team. Again, still more talent there. And I mean, they tend to the Cowboys, but the trend that they have done, and that Dak Prescott has a really, proven track record. He plays really well against the NFC East. Period. Whether
Yeah,
it's
his
the
record's
Commanders,
amazing division.
whether it's whether it's the Commanders, the Giants, or the Eagles. I mean, he owns the NFC East, and I don't think that changes this year. I think that Commanders game is a win.
Yeah. I know you're a big Commander believer last year. I mean, you definitely called it, so you get to where you get to wear the crown. But I still don't believe in them. I think they're a good team. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I don't think their defense. I think their defense is bad, and it was bad last year. I think there was lightning in a bottle in a lot of their games. I don't think they match up well against Dallas. I think our offense versus their defense, I just don't think it's even close.
Yeah.
And I don't think their offense, I like McLaren, but I mean, Debo looks a little out of shape. Maybe he's going to be in shape. Their running game is not really strong. So that's something they can have. Jaden Daniels is obviously, I think he's a good young quarterback, but second year, usually there's a little bit of a learning curve, and there's a fallback. I mean, you saw with CJ Stroud, and I saw, people have Jaden Daniels top 5 quarterback in the NFL, and I saw the same thing with CJ Stroud, and now I don't even see CJ on the top 10. And I think CJ's better than what people think. I think it was just an adjustment. It was an adjustment he's got to make. So I'm with you. I think the Cowboys win that game, and they go to 6-1. And I think Cowboys Nation is feeling pretty damn good if the schedule turns out this way. But, like we said, there could be trouble ahead. But
could be trouble ahead. Could be trouble ahead.
So trouble ahead is at Denver. And I'm just going to say, I'll start with it on this one, is a lot of people get excited and they say, yeah, man, that 7-1, we're feeling pretty good. The Cowboys haven't beaten the Denver Broncos since they had Troy Aikman.
90s.
And I'm pretty sure about that. You guys check and see if I'm wrong.
I know for a fact it's been. I looked it up. I've got a buddy of mine. I mean, my girlfriend that I used to date, she was a Broncos fan. I got a buddy of mine that's a Broncos fan. They remind me about it all the time. And the thing about Denver, I don't know what it is, but man, they come to play when they play the Cowboys. Do you remember Zeke's rookie year, 2016? He had like 25 rushing yards that entire game. He couldn't do shit that game. No. They shut his ass down.
Actually, I would say, if my memory's right, correct me if I'm wrong, I think that was after his rookie. I think that was opening. It was like the first game of the year.
Was it 2017?
I think it was the first. I think it was opening.
Oh,
day.
You know what? It might have been.
I think it
was. It was because his rookie season, we went 13-3 that year.
Yeah.
And Denver
sucked. Like we were all. I mean, they didn't suck, but we were amped up. Like, we're gonna beat them. We're gonna beat the hell out of them. We're feeling good. Super Bowl year. We're coming off a pretty positive year. I know, and they absolutely stifled our run and embarrassed us on that game. And I didn't mean to interrupt you, but yeah,
I think you're right. I think that was
something about Denver's problem.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was terrible. They got their asses kicked, and I think somebody said in the chat, "What was that? We lost that game." And and then 4 years later, they're playing in Dallas, and I was at that game and went there and took my girlfriend, the Broncos fan, and she was pumped up, and we were both talking smack to each other, and her Broncos came in and literally smacked the shit out of us again. And I mean, it was dominant, and It's I'm a Sean Payton fan. I think he's a great head coach, really great head coach. I think that with the young quarterback that he's got, Bo Nix, I think that he's going to do really good things with him. I think Denver I actually think that Denver this year, they were a playoff team last year, with Bo Nix being a rookie. I don't think they got worse this year. I think they'll be a playoff team again. And unfortunately, as much as I would love to see them turn it around so I can talk shit to my Denver people, I think that's a game where we go up there and I think Denver pulls out the win.
Yeah.
I hope I'm wrong, but history has just proven me. History's proven. I mean, it's been proven me. It's just time after time. Denver just tends to play some of their best football against the Cowboys. They show up and they you know, and I get granted, everybody's like, well, that's not the same team as it was last time we played them. Well, I understand that, but every single time we've played them over the past, since, like you said, since the 90s, they have came in and just smacked us around. And I think Sean Payton's got that team playing really well. It's a physical team. They play hard. And they've got a good young quarterback again. It's his second year too, so we'll kind of see how that goes for him. Because same thing as for Jaden Daniels for him, but I got that as a loss.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to say it, but I have it as a loss. I just think on the road, they were 6-1, won 6 in a row. Denver just, I don't know. It's just God, I hate it because I got to hear my brother's mouth.
Yeah, I know.
To go to the Denver, but my brother's afraid to fly, so he's not going. So so I don't have to sit and witness it. But I'm praying they win. But I think that's a loss, and that comes to Arizona. So the Cowboys, we both have them at 6-2. Arizona Monday night. I'll be at that game. If anyone will be there, I'll be at that game. And I think my Hurricanes are playing SMU that Saturday. So I'm going to go. I'm doing a doubleheader. I'm gonna do a little weekend. 2 for Tuesday on a Saturday and a Monday. So it'll be a long weekend in Dallas. But what do you think about Arizona? And I'd say Murray has never lost against Dallas, and I don't think he's ever lost in that stadium.
I think that changes this year. I think you'll be happy when you go down there. I think Miami's going to beat SMU, and I think that Cowboys beat the Cardinals.
Yeah, I hope you're right. This is one of those. This is the game that you remember the Cardinals. We had that one.
Yeah,
I think week 2 a few years ago.
They slipped up a few times against Arizona.
They're another weird team where we just don't play well against them, and I don't know why.
Yeah.
And I think they're going into a bye, and I think they're going to upset me going into the bye. I think they're going to lose. And it's going to be one of those. There's always one, and I think this is the one game. It was either going to be this one or the LA one. So the Vegas. I mean, but I just think I don't know until we beat Murray and until he loses in Dallas. I just think it's going to be tough. So I think Dallas loses this game. I think they go to 6-3. Right? Is that what I have? And you've got 7-2.
Yep.
So we're right about there. We enter the bye week. What do you think about the bye week and where it's at? I'm pretty happy.
I don't mind it. That's a pretty good spot. Yeah, pretty good spot. I like, I prefer the bye week to be about the halfway point of the season. So you're right there. We're at the, little over the halfway point of the season. But I like that. I like that bye week. Good time to get some guys healed up that are starting to get nicked up and banged up.
Yeah. And at SMU. So I will be there. I will definitely be there, planning on going to that game. So coming off the bye, typically very strong historically, most teams are, not just Dallas, but Vegas. It's going to be interesting. You say we can't run. We don't have a good run defense. Well, you're going to get the best running back coming out of the draft is going to be there. So, what do you think about the Raiders and how that game's gonna turn out? Is it a night game? Is that a night game too? Is that a Sunday? I think it's a Monday night game. I'm sorry. Is that a Monday night game? Yeah.
Monday night game.
Monday night games. Okay.
Back to back. All right. Well, I think that's actually going to be a really good game. It's going to press Dallas on their run defense. And I think, the Raiders are going to try to run it down their throats. And they've got Max Crosby on the other side, really good on the defensive side of the ball. That's going to be an interesting game. That's kind of a coin flip. But again, I think that the Cowboys, where they're going to struggle is everybody's going to sit there and be like, damn, Kelly, you got these guys probably winning 13 games, but I got them winning against Las Vegas.
All right.
I think they're going to win against Vegas. So,
well, I do. I think coming off the bye, I think they're going to beat Vegas again. Geno is there, right? Geno's in
Geno
Vegas.
Smith, yeah.
Yeah, and they got Genti. I don't know if they've got the weapons on the outside to give Dallas trouble, so I think they can they can zero in on Genti. And I think Eberflus, I'm going to buy into his scheme that he's going to be able to have us in the middle of the pack at run defense, which I would take if they can do that. I'd be happy with it. So I've got Dallas beating the Raiders. So I think 100%. I think you're right. We'll win that road game. So that gives me 3 losses and it gives you 2 losses. So now we're probably coming to, I would say, the most difficult, I would say 6-game stretch. If you really, I mean, a lot of people say, 4 games, but I wouldn't sleep on the last 2 games. I think they've got a tough stretch ahead, and it's coming back on a Sunday. So you've got a short week, and you're at home against the Eagles on Sunday afternoon. What say you with that one?
I think we split, so I'm going to say that's a win.
I think we gave that one away. Yeah. Coming back on a short week, I think we split. Now, I would preface this by if we happen to beat Philly opening day, I think we lose to them here. So I think it's going to be a split. So
one way or another, it's a split. I don't think they sweep. I don't think we sweep.
Yeah. So I think each team holds home court. So that gives me 2 losses, or you 2 losses, me 3 losses. And then they have a very short week, and this starts a weird, interesting run of Thursday games for these Cowboys.
Yeah.
They've got their Thanksgiving, and they're bringing Patrick Mahomes in, and this is the game I really wanted to see. Unfortunately, it's on Thanksgiving, which makes it very difficult for me to get to. But this was a bucket list to see Patrick Mahomes. I know you're Texas Tech, so you might be a little torn here a little bit. I don't know.
Well, not really torn. I'll be rooting for the Cowboys. There will be no part of me that wants to see Mahomes win that game, but it doesn't change the fact that I think that they will. I think Kansas City is going to win that. I mean, I think the Cowboys will play them good, but I think that Kansas City is going to beat us at home. They've had some some challenges on Thanksgiving when they played some of these AFC teams. The Raiders, it comes to mind. The Buffalo Bills, the beatdown they gave us a few years ago, that comes to mind.
I think Chargers get us one year.
Yeah, I think the Chargers. So I think unfortunately that streak kind of against AFC on Thanksgiving continues. I think the Chiefs get the win there.
Yeah, I think, I got it losing, so that'll put me at 4, put you at 3. I think Kansas City. The question I'd have for you, Kelly, because you're more Patrick Mahomes than I am.
Sure.
Do you see, because I even saw the quarterback rankings, and now he's not he's not at the top of the list anymore in a lot of these experts. Do you think the Chiefs are starting to kind of come back, and they're not the dominant team that they once were? Do you think, are they like, if Dallas beats them, are you shocked? Like, is it past the point of, damn, man, they beat Mahomes? Or, I mean, where do you see Mahomes and the Chiefs at this year?
I still see Mahomes as the best quarterback in the league. I don't think there's anybody better than him. I think he's the best. And I think that, I think if you beat, if they beat Mahomes, would I be shocked? No, because the Chiefs had some losses last year that I thought kind of, couple of head scratchers that they had. But, the thing about what I feel like that a lot of people just don't really realize is that, Rashee Rice got hurt kind of early on in the season. I think it was about the quarter way through the season. And he was throwing to a rookie receiver, an aging Travis Kelce, and a bunch of ragtag I mean, he didn't really have anybody to throw to. So, that passing offense, since they lost Tyreek Hill, he doesn't really have a dynamic playmaker. But I will tell you this, towards the end of the season, that, I'm
Worthy?
struggling to say his name, Xavier Worthy. Yeah. He started to really come on because, at first he was just kind of like, I was kind of one trick pony. It's like, throw it deep to him. And, if you can't get open deep, then that's not happening. But he really started to come along and develop into a dependable and playmaking wide receiver. Now you're going to have Rashee Rice coming back healthy. Combine that with a second year in the offense with Xavier Worthy and Patrick Mahomes. I still think Kelce is going to continue to kind of be what we've seen, where he's, he'll make some plays here and there, but he's not the Kelce that we've known of the past, I'd say 4 or 5 years. Well, through his career, really. But last year was a little bit of an off year. I think he'll probably continue that drop off a little bit. But I still think Mahomes he's a deadly passer, of the ball, and I still think he's the best quarterback in the NFL. So. I think he's going to give us some fits in our secondary in that game.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree. I think it's going to be a tough game. Short week coming off a Philly win, right? And
Right, exactly. Big emotional game. Yeah.
It's going to be tough on that. So I've got them losing. So is that puts me at 4 losses and you 3?
Yep.
Right. Okay.
Yep.
So now here we go again. Now we've got Detroit at Detroit on a Thursday. So both of us play on Thursday. So this is regular kind of 7-day interval for both of us at Detroit on a primetime game. I believe this one is going to be on Prime Video. So it'll be one of those streaming games. And the Cowboys, this is their second of, they'll have 3 Thursday games, which I was talking about. It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
This season. How do you think this game's going to play out? They lost their coordinator. Detroit lose their coordinator. They got the running game. I mean, their running back's still there. They got the big play receivers. I mean,
yeah,
it's going to be tough. I don't see them winning this one. I think Cowboys are going to have themselves a 2-game losing streak. But what is your thoughts on this game that could be different?
I agree. I got it as a loss, and there's not really much I really have to say different than what you said. I think they've got a 2-headed monster running back, which is going to pose problems for the Cowboys because I feel like that's still going to be a weakness of the Cowboys is stopping the run. And when you've got Detroit and you're worried about trying to stop the run, that's when they can hit you over the top with their playmaking wide receivers. Amon-Ra St. Brown is a great wide receiver, and then they've got that young kid, Jameson. He's really good. Jameson Williams. They've got playmakers just all over that offense. Really, really good. Their defense will be better this next year because they'll be getting Aiden Hutchinson back. He got hurt last year. That kind of did hurt their defense. And I honestly think probably one of the bigger reasons that they didn't make it to the Super Bowl. I think that definitely hurt them and changed the dynamic of their defense, losing a guy like that. So, yeah, unfortunately, I think that's a loss for the Cowboys, and I think we're staring down the barrel at a 2-game losing streak. But nothing to hang your heads about. It's the Kansas City Chiefs and the Detroit Lions, 2 of the better teams in the NFL.
Yeah, and so I mean that gives me 5 losses at this point for Dallas. A U4, is that right? Are we on the same page?
Yeah, yep.
So and this is a tough stretch of the schedule, and
it is. That's what I said when I was racking up all them wins.
You got to rack them wins up early, and we'll just take a quick break because whenever we get a super chat, and we do appreciate these super chats, they go towards our Cowboys Cave tailgate party. So just give a little promo again. Our Cowboys Cave tailgate party is going to be week 4, Green Bay. We are going to have a great time. We got a DJ, that now it just grows. So we got guys that want to DJ. So we're gonna have some music there. Obviously, cuts on the pit. We got some drinks. I mean, we got moonshine coming in. I think Jeff's coming back again, so he's gonna bring probably some food, moonshine as well. I mean, it's just a great time. So everybody's welcome. Everyone always says, "Do I need a ticket?" No, it's in lot 10. I mean, you can just walk up. There's no guards. You walk in. If you want to donate to help with the food and drink, have at it. If you don't, no problem. If you want to just hang out the whole time and not go in the game, you just in the DFW area and you just want to have a good time and watch the game there, we'll have a TV. Cuts is going to be there. There'll be other people hanging out, so you can just chill there, and we'll meet up with you after the game and have some victory drinks, hopefully. But
that's right.
You guys are welcome. But anytime we get a super chat, it goes towards the help pay and cover some of the costs. So we got a super chat. Kelly, I don't know if you can read it or do you need me to read it?
Well, I don't have my glasses on. Okay. What's up, boys? Do I think Diggs can get back to his old self this season? I'm needing for him to be back, but back-to-back seasons with significant injuries is tough. That's one of the things that we've talked about. I do think that's tough. I think that Diggs is starting to pile up the injuries. There's been questions about his rehab. Is he taking it serious? The Cowboys want him to be doing it at their facility. He's not. He's doing it with some, which it's fine. That's not unheard of for somebody to do their own thing. But there's been some talk about Diggs. There's been some talks about whether he's taking his rehab serious. He's documenting his rehab. He's literally having like a, basically, what is that? A docuseries following his rehab, which I think is kind of silly. I think that if you're gonna do it, there's a phrase that I've always liked. Me personally, I've make your moves in silence. And because I think that's how you should do things, lock in. And if you're locked in, you're locked in. You don't need to advertise to everybody you're locked in. You don't need to have everybody go along with that journey that you're locked in. So I don't know, man. To me, Diggs is kind of started to fall out of favor with me. I need him to have a season this year where he comes back and shows up, has a healthy year, and comes back to all pro form, because if not, the Cowboys very well could be moving on from Diggs after this season.
Yeah, and I mean, and in all reality, the Cowboys need him. I mean, the
They
Cowboys
do.
need
They
to be,
do. They do.
they need him to be, if not at the All Pro level, at least a Pro Bowl level. But like you said, coming off those kind of injuries, that's tough. I mean, if there's a if there's a position that needs their legs more than anything, and cut and all that, and knees, it's going to be a cornerback. Because you're reacting to everything that the wide receiver knows what he's doing. You're reacting to what they do. So you got to have that quick agility. I mean, I'm praying that he comes back to form, because if he does, then it's just going to make this team more dangerous. If he doesn't, we got a weakness at cornerback. I mean, that's just the reality of it. He's one of our top players, and he's not there. It's going to be a problem. So yeah, it's going to be tough, but I think we're rooting for him. I think we all obviously want to be back, but we'll see what happens. So going back into the final stretch, and just to recap, I have Dallas at 5 losses at this point. Kelly's got them at 4. Now we come home for a couple games. So before we finish the season on the road, and we're going to start with Minnesota. I mean, Minnesota's got the receivers. I mean, they got the receivers. They got
run game.
The kid from Michigan, McCarthy.
JJ McCarthy, yeah.
Coming off an injury. They moved on from Darnold, which kind of surprised some people, but you got a young rookie coming in here. I think Dallas wins. I think Minnesota is going to be taking a step back. I don't know how. I'm not a believer in McCarthy. I really wasn't a big fan of his coming out of Michigan. Maybe I'll be proven wrong. Wouldn't be the first or the last time, but I think they're in a tough division. I think it's going to be interesting, but I think Dallas wins. I think Dallas wins that game at home.
Well, this will be our.
I'm there, so they better win.
This will be our second game that we disagree on. I've got us going into a 3-game slide here. I got us losing to Minnesota. I think that Minnesota has, even with a young quarterback, I think the best medicine, the best recipe for a young quarterback to succeed is to have playmakers around him. And I think they've got that in the running back, and I think they've got that in the 2 star wide receivers of Justin Jefferson and was it Addison? They've got the playmakers on the offensive side, I think, to give our defense some fits. So I actually got us losing to the Vikings in that game.
Wow. Yeah, that would break my heart, because that means I'm there watching them lose.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen often. So that's going to be tough.
Yeah.
Be tough to deal with. And so now that puts us at both with 5 losses, 3 to go. You've got the Chargers at home Sunday night. I'm hopeful that Kelly doesn't say we have a 4-game losing streak, because 4-game losing. I think
the Cowboys. I think this is where the Cowboys bounce back here. I think we bounce back here, and I think we're gonna. Yeah, I think we get this dub. I think they bounce back, have a good game, Sunday Night Football, play a good Chargers team. This is going to be, it's a good team. They've got playmakers on that team as well. But I think Cowboys get the win here.
Yeah, I think this is one of those tricky games, and I wouldn't shock me if Dallas loses. It's a 12 o'clock game, which is always kind of funky in Dallas. I mean, weird things happen at these early games, but you think about it, it's a 12 o'clock game for Dallas. It's a 10 o'clock game for the Chargers. So it's really weird that they do that. A West Coast team, they have them play early. I've never really understood that, but I mean, maybe it changes, but I think Dallas beats them. I think Dallas handles it. I think the Chargers are a good team, but I mean, we've owned the Chargers, and Dak has owned his matchups with Herbert, and I think Harbaugh is a really good coach, but I think Dallas handles it. So that puts us both. How many losses? We're at 5 losses apiece.
5 losses
apiece. Divisional games left. I'm going to lump these together, and it's going to be one of those. I think Dallas loses one of them. Now, you could say they sweep the Commanders. and then their playoff seeding is pretty much where it's at, and they do a mini bye, and they rest up guys against the Giants and they lose, or they lose to the Commanders and they really need to beat the Giants for playoff seeding. But I think they lose one of these games and they're going to finish with 6 losses. They'll be 11-6. So I know that's probably not the best example, but I don't know how you feel about it.
Well, I've been going back and forth. What I said is I've been bouncing back and forth between 10 and 12. I called 12 wins when I first looked at the schedule. And then I thought, it maybe could be closer to that 10 side. But and now that I'm thinking about it, and I've had the chance, and we've gone through each one of them, and I've thought the scenarios out of my head. I'm sticking with my 12-5 record. I think that the Cowboys actually win both those games. I think they sweep Washington, and I think they sweep New York. So, and I actually think that, here's my thing is that I think that even if they decide, hey, we might rest a few guys, I think that, Joe Milton comes in there and we get to see Joe Milton play a game and beat the
Giants.
beat the Giants. You know what I mean? Because I think that we're that much better than the Giants because I just don't think it matters who the starting quarterback is. I mean, if Cooper Rush can go in there and do it, why wouldn't I think that a superior quarterback in Joe Milton could come in there and do it? So I got him 12-5. I got him win us both those games.
So you got 12-5. I got 11-6, and it's not that I think the Giants are better. Like I said, I think they're just going to split one of those 2 games just because of the way it works out.
For
but
sure.
The wild card would be, what does that get you in this conference? But you got to start with the division first. I'm gonna 12 win? I mean, when I hear 12 wins, I'm thinking the Cowboys win the division.
Honestly, I think that the Cowboys. I think that 12-5 could. I think 12-5 very well could win the division. Here's the thing. Do I think we're better than Philadelphia? No, I don't think we're better than Philadelphia this year. I think Philly will be the better team. But Philly's playing a first place schedule. They're and hey, listen. No matter what anybody says, going back to back in the NFL is hard, and going from the Super Bowl and then following that up with another 12-win or 13-win season, I think that's equally hard. I think that the Eagles could have, will absolutely be a playoff team, but I could see them being a playoff team at 10 or 11 wins. And I know that probably people are saying, well, that means that the Cowboys are better. Well, not necessarily. I think that the Cowboys just got a more favorable schedule early on, which allows them to stack up some wins and allows them to get to that 12-win, window, which I think would have the Cowboys winning the NFC East. So, and listen, there hasn't been a repeat winner of this division now in how long? I mean, what has it been, 20-some years?
4 years.
Yeah, I mean, it's and I think that trend continues because I think that I feel that that's just what my gut is telling me is that the Cowboys win the NFC East. But again, I still am going to stand behind the fact that I think that we go into the playoffs and probably get bounced in the first round, unfortunately. So,
all right. Well,
doesn't really mean much if we don't do anything when we get there. But I do think that 12 would get us the division.
Yeah, and just to so people and I know we have an Eagle fan here, so he'll correct me if I'm wrong. I think the 2 games that are different, right? The schedule's the exact same for every team in the division. Now, home and away could be different, right? Because we go back and forth. But there's 2 games that are always different, and it's based on where you finish. And it's going to be we're playing the Panthers and at the Panthers, and
they're playing the Bucks.
You're playing the Bucks. We're playing the Jets, and they're playing the Bills at the Bills.
Correct.
That's two. And people can laugh at Tampa if you want to. I mean, the Eagles, if they dare do it, the Buccaneers own the Eagles. I mean, I hate to say it because I don't mind saying it. I'm not a Bucs fan, but I don't like the Eagles.
It's true. It's true. And here's the thing, man. I mean, I think that Cleveland gave up on Baker Mayfield way too quick. Yeah. I mean, I do. Do I think he's a top 10 quarterback? No, but do I think he's a good enough quarterback? I think he's just outside the edge of top 10. I mean, I listen at 6.
Fox had him at 5.
Yeah, well, exactly. There's plenty of I've seen a couple of that has him in the top 10. And probably an argument can be made for that. But you look at that team; they've got playmakers on that. They've got playmakers on that offense, a lot of them, and they've got a pretty sound defense as well. So I got Tampa Bay making the playoffs again. I think that it's going to be between Atlanta and Tampa Bay in terms of the NFC South, who takes that division. But look, man, Tampa's no slouch. They're no slouch. And like I said, Philly coming off the Super Bowl, okay, and having a season where they, for the majority of that season, they were healthy throughout the entire season. You had a Saquon Barkley who didn't miss any games. Normally in Saquon's career, he has missed them. He had I think a record high carries last year. I mean, they used the shit out of Saquon Barkley, and they played more games because they made it all the way to the Super Bowl. No matter what anybody says, that puts a wear and tear on people. I mean, it showed up when the Chiefs, when they were making their run and they were doing a back-to-back, and they had offensive line. They had a couple offensive linemen go down when they played Tampa Bay in the Super Bowl. Their offensive line was decimated, but they had been in the Super Bowl the year before. And so playing that many more games, it does have a toll on you. The fact that that they did just win a Super Bowl, are their players still that hungry to get back and get it? Hunger becomes a question now. You know what I mean? And I know that every one of those guys are going to say that they want to go back to back, but the thing is, not everybody has that in their DNA. Some people slack off. Some people get that. They get that. Look, because that's what you play for. You play to win a Super Bowl. Once you've achieved that goal, are you as hungry as you were before you won it? Some probably yes, but maybe not all. So if you don't have all 53 on the same page, I'm just saying there's a lot of things that play and go into a team going back to back. I don't think the Eagles go and win another Super Bowl this year. I don't even think they end up in the Super Bowl, and I don't think they win the NFC East. I mean, and that I know that's crazy to say with all the criticism I've given them, but I just don't think it.
I got to ask you, Kelly, because you said something earlier. And you're setting us up for a problem if this is true. But you said the Dallas Cowboys are going to get bounced in the first round. And if you're saying they're 12-5, that puts them, I think, as a number 2 seed. So you're saying the Dallas Cowboys are going to lose to a 7th seed and be again.
Really? I understand. I know what I'm saying. I just listen. I hope that I'm wrong, but what have I said? What I said at the beginning of the show, I said I'm a show me guy, right? So even though I'm sitting here telling everybody that I think the Cowboys can win 12 games and win the NFC East, until this team shows me that they cannot go into the playoffs and basically shit the bed, I don't believe anything else. I got to see it. And I feel like as a Cowboys fan, you have to go into that with cautious optimism. I mean, how many times are we going to go into a playoff game with this confidence, because we've seen this team perform well and have these big moments and bright moments during the regular season, only to come out in the playoffs and look like a deer in headlights. And I just, and it starts with Dak Prescott. It starts with Dak. Dak has to play better. He has to be the better leader. He has to be the guy. He has to be that calming effect on the team, because he has not been that. He's been the guy that looks like he doesn't know what the hell's going. He looks like a deer in headlights. He gets that glazed look, right? The glazed over look at his face. There's that look, and I'm telling you right now, when Dak Prescott gets that goddamn look in his eyes, I know the game, it's fucking over. It's over. Yeah. Because he loses confidence in himself. He starts pressing. I mean, I've seen it. When he gets that look in his face, I know it. I see it. I've said it before. I'm like, yep, he's got that blank stare in his eyes. We're done. He's got to get to the point where he has that belief in himself that, look, I have done this in the regular season. There's no difference. There is no difference. This is just the playoffs. This is a win or go home scenario. I've got confidence in my beliefs. I'm going to get the shit done. And he has to, man. He has to, for his legacy's sake and for the sake of this team to ever move forward. And I know everybody always says, hey, you can't put it all on Dak Prescott. But listen, he's the quarterback of this team. If he does not play well, the rest of the team doesn't play well. we need Dak to play well in order for the rest of the team to have that confidence. Because I feel
No,
like when he's playing well, they have confidence.
they're not like the Eagles. Barkley plays well, they're going to win, right? I mean,
Yeah.
Hurts doesn't have to play well for them to win.
No,
Dallas,
absolutely not.
it's going to be if Dak doesn't play well, they don't win. I mean, that's just a
Yeah.
reality. They're going to go as far as he could take them, unless you got unless Emmitt Smith sitting on that bench somewhere that we don't know about, or Tony Dorsett, or young Zeke, or one of these running backs. But the pressure's gonna be on them. I'd be hard pressed, man, if they're the 2 seed, they lose the 7th, man. That'd be the end. That'd be the end of it for me. I don't want to think about it. But I think your point is, can't argue it. But I would say this: I think the problem with Dallas, and this is where they just got to get over it, is because exactly what you said. They're going to hear it from the media. They're hearing it from the haters, and they're hearing it from their own fans. Nobody believes in them when it comes playoff time, and they could be 17-0, and everyone's going to say, "Well, let's wait and see." So that's just more pressure. That's going to be, because they can all say that they don't watch and they don't listen to the tape. I mean, Kelly, you've seen the Twitter. I mean, Jesus, Diggs didn't even get out of his uniform. He's running out.
Yeah, no.
These guys see and read and hear everything. And if they're going to hear that all year, if they're having a good year, and it's going to get elevated once they get in the playoffs. So to your point, Dak Prescott has got to have that leadership and that mentality of F you, we're going to get it done. I don't give a shit what anyone says, because they're all going to hear it. And it starts with him, and his body language is infectious at every level, in sports or in business and in life. You can, if the guy you're going to war with has doubt in his eyes, it's going to put doubt in yours.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. I don't disagree with that at all. It's time for Dak Prescott to prove it.
Yeah. So it'll be put up or shut up. But Kelly, you got him 12-5. I got him 11-6. That's playoffs. That's playoffs for us, and what they do with it. You can only ask, like Parcells said, you just want to get in the tournament. So they're going to have their opportunity, and obviously stay healthy. I mean, if you're not healthy, this game's a battle of attrition, and we did our wins and losses. And if you guys missed it, you can go back and check it out on the individual games. But it's not who you play; it's when you play them. You got us losing to the Chiefs, and I do too. But if Patrick Mahomes ain't there, I think Dallas wins that one probably pretty easy.
Sure, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. You never know.
You got us beating the Panthers, and if we're missing a couple key guys, I mean, it could go the other way. So, but yes, just wanted to have fun with this, guys. It's almost, how many more weeks do we have, Kelly, till training camp? Do we have 3 weeks?
Yeah, I think it starts in, I think it's 3 weeks.
July, right?
I believe so.
So we've got training camp coming up. We've got the Dallas Cowboys. They can't stay out of the news. They got the documentary. What is it? What's it called? The Gambler, whatever.
Yeah. Somebody told me that should have been aired on the History Channel, and I agree. I'm not a huge fan of that shit. I'm really not. I'm gonna watch it just like everybody else, but I'm just so tired of reliving the old history. Like, one of the things Jerry said on there was, it's a soap opera 365 days a week. It doesn't have to be, motherfucker. You make it that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And honestly, I just like documentary. I like that, but I wish he wasn't in it. Like I do too. I would like more of the players. Like I would love, and Gogan was on our show, and we joked, and he said they don't want him on. I want Gogan. I want those kind of guys. I want to hear the stories. Like I love that part of it, but I don't need it to be about how great Jerry, he sacrificed everything and he did all this shit. Well, sacrifice stuff today. Sacrifice everything today. I don't want to hear that shit. Super Bowls that I got to see, from that team, but give me something new to think about. Give me some new memories. Give me some new hardware to keep up in the cave. So I'm with you. I'm going to watch it. I'm always intrigued by it. The cheerleader, that one was interesting too. So he loves being in the news with everything. What'd you think about the raise they got? Did you think that was fair?
What's that?
Their raise. Did you think the cheerleaders They got a
Oh
400.
well, I mean, hell, they're raising the price of you guys' tickets, so they might as well give them guys a raise.
Is that why they did? That's probably why they raised my
That may be
tickets.
why they raised your ticket prices, to give them cheerleaders a raise.
Unbelievable. That's what they do, man. That's what they do. But anyway, guys, we had a great show. We got George Teague is going to be coming into the cave. He's back from Belgium. He did his overseas stuff, so we got to touch base, and I think it's going to be either next week or the week after. We're going to tighten it up, but we'll make sure. So he is going to, when everything happened, he said, man, give me some time, and we're going to figure this thing, get his opinion on everything with the Cowboys. He does a CBS pregame for the Cowboys, so he's got a lot of insight, as well as being, badass defender of the star. What more do you want?
Absolutely.
So we got that coming up. So we're going to try and fill in some interviews and some stuff because we know it's downtime, but once training camp gets going, it'll be here before you know it. So you guys have a great 4th of July weekend. Be safe. If you're drinking, don't drive. I mean, that goes without saying. Uber is so cheap, it's just not worth it. But you guys have a good one. Kelly, I'll give you the last word of anything you wanna drop. So,
just don't take anything, any of the predictions to heart. You know what I mean? I say that we get bounced in the first round. Listen, like I said earlier in the show, all those things can change. And also, I've been known to be wrong many a time. So, what I say, I mean, throw it out the window. Hell, my opinion on all this matters just as much as yours. You may have them being just as long as you don't have them with a losing record. As long as you don't have a losing record, I could agree with it. We can debate about, anywhere from the 9 wins all the way up to say maybe, 12, 13 at the most. 13 would be crazy, but I could get it. I could get on board with any of that. As long as you're not telling me they got a losing record. Me and Ultra made a bet. I don't know if you saw that, but we made a bet. He bet.
I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said that.
$50, $50 that they don't make the playoffs, and $50 that they don't win more than 8 games.
Yeah.
And I told him, I said that's a bet. I'll take it.
He likes to puff his chest out. We had a bet last year, 10 games, and he likes to say, "I called it. I told you it would happen." But when you make these bets, there's always things that could happen. I mean, if you would have told me Dak Prescott, Micah Parsons, Diggs, and whole goddamn team was going to be out, I probably would have said,
right, yeah, it might have been a little bit different.
Yeah, they won 7 games, so I was off by 3 games. If they have Dak Prescott, they easily win 10 games last year. So anyway, I was going to say something like, you know what, I'm just let sleeping dogs lie. I'm not going to, because I saw him mention my name. I told Mike this was going to happen. He didn't tell me all the guys were going to get hurt. He forgot to mention that part.
Well,
if they
got a healthy team, then they're not. If it's a healthy team, that's not happening. So
yeah. But I think an injured team wins more than 7.5 games if as long as they're not decimated.
For sure, I agree. I agree.
Unless we're idiots, but we'll see. But you guys have a great 4th of July. Be good. We'll be back. You guys take care. Have a good weekend. We will. Oh, I forgot. I got to do I got to do the outro. I'm sorry, Kelly. Yeah, I'm rusty. I'm fixing. There you go. All right, guys.
Give me somebody that's hungry. Give me somebody that's hungry. I need somebody.